So greetings and holler at your boy Prue. My mohawk is looking mohawky as hell today. That's awesome. All right, let's get into it. For the final part of the American Horror Stories book challenge, the last one for season 9, 1984, slasher, summer camp, all that love. I went with Jason Parent's They Feed. This is the first of many Jason Parent books that I will probably read. I'll save the letter grade thing for at the end. Campgrounds are full tonight. I thought this was a summer camp story. It turns out it kind of wasn't, but oh well. We're doing it. It's counted. Let's get into it. Y'all know how I do reviews. You all know I do the plot, the characters, pros, cons, how it flowed, then an overall grade. That's awesome. Let's get into it. I am gushing over this was quite well. This is quite well. The plot is basically a group of people. We'll get into characters in the next part. Basically, go to a camp, go to like a park. It's called Gavelstone, but I think of it more like, a state park, hiking trails, cabins, RVs, all that malarkey that's at a camp state park. And then trouble starts a brewing and a monster starts chasing you. So that's not an unusual premise. It was done very well, but the premise itself, kind of average, so I'm going to give it a B-. It was done slightly different. That's why I'm pushing it just slightly above mediocre premise, but it's still kind of basic. All right, characters. The characters I thought were good in this book also, but the main character is Tyler, and him and his father have an off relationship, and he's an ex-con, which is weird because the wife's watching Orange is the New Black, so dealing with ex-cons in there plus ex-cons on the TV, that was a little weird to get into. The girl Abigail and her husband KY, that's not his real name, that's just what they call him. I don't recall what they actually called him. They're just like a couple's relationship. And at the beginning, there's some girl cheating on her guy. So there's some of the characters. Mark, Bo, and Luke were like some country boys that lived there. So the characters weren't all quite cookie cutter, but they weren't far from it. So I'm going to give them all also a B. Okay, pros and cons. Pros. 300 pages, and it read great. It was totally a nice, quick romp through. It's a slasher. It's brain candy. It's just like watching like a Jason movie. You can just sit down, watch the shit happen, take it in, and just totally escape 2020 for a little bit and enjoy a nice, very classical horror-themed thing. Cons, this thing here is like a really good microwave burrito. It was good enough where you enjoyed it, but it wasn't deep enough to where you're like, oh man, I had the best microwave burrito. You know what I'm saying? Like Stephen King's characters, they'll get you. Michael Crichton's plots, they'll get you. This is all just well done brain candy. It's done great, but it's not very deep. He tried to get some stuff going for it. I don't want to give away the monster because the monster is the coolest part of this. But the monster, I will say, was cool as a pro, but as a con is once you get into it, then it gets kind of, once you figure out what it is, you're like, oh, and then you're like, oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You get it. You've been there. Y'all seen horror movies. But how did it read? Oh, it read amazing. Solid, quick read. Jason Parent totally is a fan of the classic 1980s style horror. This was just a solid cut-through story. He didn't push out any agenda. He didn't like befuddle it up with a deeper meaning. No, it was just monsters at a camp trying to get you. and then how do you survive, and then the asshole maneuvers we all do in life for our own survival and good. So overall, I'm going to give Jason Parent, They Feed, a B+, just for overall enjoyability. It's great, fun, quick horror read, but it's not very deep. So if you're just looking for something you can pick up, read, put on yourself, come back to it whenever you're feeling like and a little nostalgic for the 80s, this is great. But if you want like something that's going to be deep and stick with you and you're going to be like, oh man, you got to read this, this ain't where you're supposed to go. But thank you all so much for doing this. This has been my personal first created book tag of American Horror Stories. It's a show that I like. When earlier I did a About Me book tag, I totally spaced on, I didn't say American Horror Stories because I was just so ingrained with doing this read along. But there you go. Thank you so much. This is the last part of it. I finished in September, which I didn't think I would do, but I did it, and now I get some extra time off. I kind of did these early because I'm going to Salem, Massachusetts soon, so I didn't want to try to have to do a reading schedule because I am going to be doing no reading while up there. I'm going to just enjoy the atmosphere of witches and then just embark on some madness. I might join a coven. Who knows? Who knows? But it's been your boy Prue. Thank you so much for Book 9, They Feed. B+, solid fun horror read. Well, this is a solid way to end it. It's a great day outside. This is a good book. It's a little too bright and sunshiny for this particular book, but it's still a good day. And this just ranked it up a bit. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay creepy. Stay awesome. Thank you.